Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's installation video, it's time to let the turbo noises sing on the 4th Gen Tacoma. So we will be installing a new intake for this truck that is going to provide us with more of those turbo noises. We'll also get some more efficiency, a little bit better throttle response, and some added power too. So laid out, I have the HPS air intake system for the 4th Gen Tacoma. I'll have a link down in the description below where you can purchase this kit along with other kits that they have available for the different engine options for the Tacoma in general. So I'll start up front with this section right here where there are 4 of these push pins. So all you need to do is push them down, and I would recommend pulling them out before you start pulling this entire piece out. That way you don't lose these, as they will just fall everywhere if you pull this out. But from there, I do have one still left in there, and you can lift this straight out. Next up, I'm going to disconnect the mass airflow sensor. Now we will be reinstalling this entire unit on the new piping, but for now, I just want to at least disconnect it so I can at least pull that off and then work our way to the end of this pipe. I have a 10 mil, and all I need to do is loosen this lower clamp that holds it on. And with that lower clamp loose, as you can see, I have a little bit of wiggle room. It looks like it is a little bit hard to pop that off because there is a seal, of course, that is around it from the factory there. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen the upper one as well. Both of these are a 10 millimeter, or you could use a Phillips head. It's pretty hard to reach down in there, which is why I'm using the socket. So once I have those loose, I am using a flat head for this upper piece just to help break that seal so I can wiggle this top housing off. And so it just takes a little bit of time to wiggle that and pop it off just like that. So from there, what I'm going to do is unhook the top of the intake cover here where we still have one wire. So this is the wire that I disconnected for the mass airflow sensor. And on the back side of it, I'm going to take a pair of pliers and pinch the housing for it. So there's 2 tabs on both sides. So if I can pinch those, I can push this entire piece right off. And just like that, we have the upper section released here. So now I can move on to the lower section here where it just gives me a lot more room in order to wiggle this off. So it's just like the top section there, just breaking that seal, but with everything out of the way, I can easily pull it off like so. And with that out of the way, let's pull the factory filter, which is going to be pretty clean. I only have 1,100 miles on the truck, so looking good so far. And then with everything out of the way, this lower section is not bolted in place at all. All you have to do is kind of just pop and wiggle it out, and then you can get this whole section out. So there's these sections in the bottom where it looks like we do have some pins in the bottom there that just kind of wiggle in place. So just give it a firm pull and you can pop this factory box right off. As we move on to installing the HPS intake, let's start off with this part of the heat shield where you'll notice a giant circle and the 3 riveted sections on the top. So with this piece, we are actually going to utilize 2 of the rubber seals at the bottom of the stock intake box. So this was the last piece that I removed from the truck, and you have these 2 rubber grommets that you will pull off of it because there are 2 corresponding holes on here that you will install them on. Also, what we need to do, the kit comes with the supplied hardware for this rubber edge guard here, where you want to measure about 8.5 inches, and I went just over that, probably 8 3/4. And what I need to do is just continue the cut here. And once I have this cut, then we can line it on the lower piece of this. So you'll notice there's this lower section right here that zigzags. We'll put the thinner part of it on the actual heat shield itself. So it's just a matter of wiggling this on, and especially around this curve. It's not all that hard to do since it's pretty pliable to do. And with this edge guard installed on the bottom of this, you'll also put these in from the bottom as well. So these 3 rivet sections are going to be the top. You'll have these sections here with the larger opening at the very bottom because that is where it's going to sit on these factory bolts at the bottom. So you'll just line this up now and push those on to where they pop into place. So moving on to the second piece for the heat shield now, we're moving on to this one here where we have a smaller hole right in the middle. This kit comes with this ring washer. We are going to put that inside of this hole here, and you'll notice there is a ridge or divider right in the middle of it. So that way half of it will sit on one half, and of course the other half can sit on the other. So you just have to push this in so that way you can get half and half, just like that. So we have that piece there. This also comes with more of the edge guard. So you will take one piece on this outer edge here, and just by giving a good firm push, you can get that on the entire edge there. Now we also have another curved piece right here, and we can install the next section on there. It's a little bit harder just because it does have that curve to it, but it's not that hard in general to be able to get that on and have that edge nice and lined up. And then the last one is going to be this indentation right here. And with this piece completed, this is actually going to use two of the factory holes where the stock intake went. So we have one that's at the top of the grill here and the other hole at this corner. This circular portion is going to go around this hood section here. This is where the hood rests on this passenger side. Now, before you start putting it on this portion, you want to make sure that this forward edge is underneath this middle grill portion. So it'll wrap around downwards and then on top of this one, and from there we can start to wiggle the rest of it around this middle section here. So we have it just like that, where it will line up with this first heat shield that we installed, and then you can use two of the factory pins that we removed to hold it in this front section here. Next up, we'll move on to the aluminum pipe where we can install the factory mass airflow sensor. It does only install one way, but just for reference, you'll have the connection of it on the opposite side of the HPS logo. So we have it facing the same way as this curved part of the inlet, and then you can reuse the factory screws to install this. And they don't have to be too tight, just nice and snug. From there, we also have this piece here that we can insert. This will go on the side of the mass airflow sensor, and we'll just push it in like so, make sure it's nice and flush. And to install this into the vehicle, I will take this rubber section or connector piece off. It's just going to be easier to push this onto the vehicle. There's a larger section and a smaller section. Smaller section is going to go on the truck itself. So I'm going to work from the back side forwards, and that way I can push it around and also have those hangers or clamps out of the way. So with that installed, now I can move on to this pipe here, where I can slowly put this through the hole of that heat shield just in case I need to, and then line this up. Now you don't have to push this all the way down. You do want to make sure that it is lined up with the hole on this heat shield. So as long as it's in and this upper clamp will cover the piping, that is all you need to do to push it down. And so I used a 9/32 in order to tighten both of those clamps, and now we can install the air filter itself. So with the ring that is provided from this, we will slide that on first. You will be tightening this from the mass airflow sensor side. So you want to make sure that you have it on this side in order to start pushing this on. So we can easily get through that hole there and then line this up on the air filter itself. So there is a portion of that that is going to go through, and then I'm using a 5/16, or you could use a flathead to tighten this clamp down. And so with that installed, we are not going to be reusing this section that we popped out holding the mass airflow sensor wire, but I will keep that on the vehicle in case I put this back to stock. That will be easy to use. So what I'm going to do now is run this underneath, and I can clip that into place. So we have a nice connection. There's no wire hanging out excessively. It just loops straight underneath. And then we have the final piece here with HPS for the top of this heat shield. So there are going to be 4 holes that this is going to line up with, and we have the provided hardware that is going to use that same 5/16 in order to snug it down. So this is just going to be a little bit of a wiggle game to get these to line up, especially this piece right here, because there's 2 sections from this one and this one that need to line up with that same hole. Pretty easy to put this on, and then when you do need to clean the air filter, you just have these 4 that you need to disconnect, and then you can easily pop out the air filter. So that was a very easy installation process for this HPS intake on the 4th Gen Tacoma. I really like the fit and finish for this product as well. It looks like it could be a factory system for this truck. Now, it's also worth noting that you can get a few different color options for this intake pipe itself. I decided to go with black just with the color scheme that I have going on, but a very nice system. Let's go ahead and take a listen now to the factory intake versus this HPS intake and really hear those turbos come to life. All right, so now that we are driving the 4th Gen Tacoma with this HPS intake, from those sound clips, you heard the stock versus this system here. You can definitely hear it even from inside the cabin here. Now, it's not going to sound like the Trail Hunter. If you're unfamiliar with the 4th Gen Tacoma, there's a snorkel. So if you roll down the passenger side, you can actually hear the intake. You can hear it a little bit with that window down, but you can still definitely hear it while the windows are up. Now, with this system too, under just normal driving conditions, it is going to sound just like stock. Now, if I get on the gas just slightly, maybe the camera or the mic can pick that up, but you can hear it slightly, and it sounds really good too. So it's really under an acceleration where you might be able to hear it even while I'm talking, but it's not crazy loud. Like, it has a really good sound to it if you are looking to liven up the 4-cylinder turbo for this Tacoma. And again, just driving like normal, you can definitely hear it, but it sounds really good. So I hope you all enjoyed today's video installing a new intake system for the 4th Gen Toyota Tacoma. I'll have a link down in the description where you can purchase this exact kit, along with the options that are available, and there's a few different generations that HPS has for the Tacoma in general. So if you have a different model year, you can still get an intake system for that particular model. So if you enjoyed today's installation and sound video of this intake, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.